Hello one and all, I'm Sam from the YouTube channel Seen Through Glass. Welcome to part 2 of the Harman Kardon Sound Check. I'm on my way to the Formula E in Berlin so that along with Harman Kardon I can discover more about the sound of e-mobility. But first, I've decided to make a pit stop at the Harman Kardon HQ here in beautiful and very sunny Munich. Today, we're going to go behind the scenes at Harman Kardon to discover how the magic of sound is brought to life. Well, I have now arrived at the Harman Kardon Sound Lab and I'm off to meet up with Greg, who is head of vehicle acoustics, to find out what they're doing down here. Greg, how you doing? Sam.
Hi,
Very
Sam.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So we are in Harman Sound Lab, one of the sound labs that we have. And this is the place where we actually make a sound tuning for cars, where we develop the sound systems.
Okay, so talk me through that process. How do you fine tune? How do you sound tune a car?
First, we have to define the system, and this is a collaboration with our customers. And when we define the system, we select all the components, meaning amplifiers, speakers, and we define the experience in the car.
What is the actual sort of philosophy of Harman Kardon sound?
In general, in the process of sound tuning, it's a combination of science and art. So there is a scientific part. We have to know our loudspeakers, we have to know our components, and we can adjust big part of the sound objectively. So using the measurements and using, let's say, the knowledge in electroacoustics and acoustics. But we can only get to a certain point. After that, the engineers have to spend time in the car and use their ears and their skills to make the fine tuning and bring the final character of the Harman Kardon sound system. We want to deliver an honest sound. So we don't want to cut corners. So as you can see, I mean, it delivers the full frequency range, but it's a performance without fireworks and needs to deliver the artist's intent.
Now, I've heard a rumour, Greg, that you have a nickname, which is the Golden Ear. I'm looking at your ears, they don't look particularly golden, so I'm assuming it's a skill characteristic that you have. Does that mean that you can hear all of these different frequencies when you're doing these tests?
Yes, that's a part of the training, but our customers are not buying the frequency curve, they're buying the experience in the car, and that's what we want to deliver. I mean, before we were even born, the first sound that we heard as an unborn baby, unborn organism, is a heartbeat. And in that environment, it's fluid and you have this heartbeat, so it's this very low frequency, boop, boop. And this is the first sound that we experience. And it's emotional. That's why people they want bass when you're in the concert, in the club or in the car. This is an important part. But it needs to be balanced with the rest of the frequency. We don't want to overdo it.
Sort of electric versus combustion cars. What's the difference when you're engineering a sound system for these cars?
So the most obvious difference is the battery. So we have additional component that we don't have in combustion engines. And for sound systems like this one, we had to be a bit more creative to find a space for the large loudspeakers, the bass loudspeakers. Additional challenge, additional difference that we have to always keep in mind is the weight. The weight for electric cars is crucial, so we have to select the components that are more efficient, can deliver still a very, very good experience, but maybe we use more efficient materials, more efficient speaker design to minimize the weight as much as possible.
I've made it down to the design studio now, and Philip here is about to give me a tour. Philip, thank you so much for welcoming me in the design studio.
Welcome.
It's a very cool space. I'm going to kick off by saying that. Talk to me, what do you do down here at the design studio?
We do all the visual components of the audio system. So we have mechanical engineers and acoustic engineers to develop the underwear of the speaker grill, but we really focus on the visual components to reflect what the brand stands for.
So how much does the design of the grill actually affect the quality of the sound?
For us, it's really important to create a very, very high acoustic transparency, because the speaker grill is basically just a protection of the speaker driver behind. Here we are generating with parametric modeling algorithms that we can apply on the different surfaces. And with the tools that we have in hand, we can create a pattern that has the right amount of transparency. We're always aiming for really high values to have a great acoustic transparency.
How much of that is changing with e-mobility, electric cars? Are the sort of components having to change or differ at all?
The components have to change, and we also look in different materials, so that maybe the visual representation of the front slash is maybe just a component to it, and we might add other like more sustainable materials like fabric or some other trends that we see in the car industry to the audio system.
It's been a fascinating morning down here at Harman Kardon, and I'm about to hit the road for my long drive to Berlin when I thought I would get all the information and tips I could out of Greg whilst I was here. So is there anything I should do, because I want to listen to my music on my drive, anything I should do with the system, any sort of tips, adding a little bit of treble or a little bit of bass for this sound system?
No.
No?
Don't. I mean, to be honest, I mean, these tone controls are there to, if you have some preference for slightly more bass, maybe less treble, you can go 1-2 clicks more or less. But if you go on the extreme settings, changing the equalizer and the tone controls, you're basically destroying what my team did. It's like someone would make a very nice dish for you, and you say, "Oh, that's a nice dish," and like put a ketchup all over it. That's exactly what you can do with tone
I've seen that happen in an Italian restaurant, and it doesn't go down well. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Well, the navigation is saying 569 kilometers to Berlin, which to me sounds like a whole lot of time to listen to some music. In the shallow. This time we'll take it slow, take it slow. Well, welcome to Berlin. You may have noticed that the i8 Roadster I'm driving has changed colour. That's because I woke up this morning to discover that Alex Sims, the BMW iAndretti Motorsports Formula E racing driver, had taken my i8 Roadster that I'd driven up from Munich to the E-Prix track. So I've ended up in a slightly different one, but no complaints. Now, as fascinating as yesterday was, getting a behind-the-scenes look at the Harman Kardon Sound Lab, today I want to have a look at the other side of the speaker and hear from someone who's creating the sound that we hear through Harman Kardon systems. So I'm off to a local studio to meet up with producer and musician Roddy.
What happened to words? They don't mean anything. What happened to words?
My name is Ronnie Meera, and I create music. Actually, I'm a producer, I'm a songwriter, I'm an artist myself, and I work with other artists. Right now I'm working with a young singer-songwriter named Yasmin Sidibé, and I'm working with Lee Rick, she's an amazing singer-songwriter too, and I'm working with a group called BTR. The car stereo is something special. As soon as you turn up the car stereo, something magical happens, and the car is, you just feel it. You feel it, and it's really important because sometimes you can get carried away in the studio by technical things. You want to be technical about it, you want to be right about it, but the car, it's all about the quality, and it's all about the feeling.
It's really interesting seeing Roddy work because he's constantly striving for the perfect sound. He doesn't know it, but there's a lot of similarity between what he's doing and the engineers at the Harman Kardon Sound Lab, because we learnt from Greg that he is constantly striving for perfect sound quality. So I'll be super interested to see what Roddy thinks when we jump into the i8 and get the Harman Kardon system blasting, whether they've done the right job and they are representing his tracks as he created them. Anyway, I'm going to get back to learning. Well, welcome inside the BMW i8 Roadster. Have you ever been in one of these before?
No.
It's exciting. But arguably, the most exciting part is the sound system. Yeah. And that's what I want to show off to you now. Oh, so I reckon let's listen to one of your tracks.
All right.
And I want to see, get your impressions.
What happened to words?
Ooh.
They don't mean anything.
Oh, come on.
What happened to words? There's no Lord.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Aye, that's crazy.
Baby, I love you. Baby, I love you. Baby, I love you.
I'm gonna say, I think it's better than the studio.
Wow.
Honestly.
That is crazy.
But do
Wow.
you actually see some similarities between your experience in the studio and what we're doing right now?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because the space, it's like I'm in the studio. I'm not used to that from a car.
That is the difference between a standard car audio system and a branded system like the Harman Kardon one.
Wow.
So do you feel like the engineers that I met yesterday have done a good job at representing your music?
They've done a marvelous job. Like, I can't believe it because I know car systems, right? I mean, I check in the car regularly. I mean, religiously. But this is something else.
What happened to words? They don't mean anything. What happened to words?
Well, that brings an end to episode 2 of the Harman Kardon Sound Check. It's been a fascinating and ear-opening experience. I hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for the future episode in New York and keep your eyes open for the competition we're going to be running very soon. If you missed episode 1, which was in Paris, go back and check that out. But for now, I'm going to sign off because I need to head to the Berlin E-Prix to enjoy some Formula E action, but I'm also going to enjoy some music before I get there.